2022 is at an end and it's time to talk about my favorite movies. Let's go! Hello everyone and hope you're well. It is that time of the year again. It's time to talk about my 10 favorite movies of 2022. Now we've done this for a few years now, so if you want to jump ahead to those rankings, you can go to this timestamp in the video. But before we begin, I'd love to say a huge thank you to everyone who has supported the channel in the past year. We grew our channel substantially in 2022 and we could not have done it without your support. So thank you very much. 2022 was another great year for movies. A few hard-hitting blockbusters, some surprise indie darlings, and everything in between. It's always difficult to rank the top 10 movies, and as always, this is my personal list. It can be very different from yours, and that's okay. So as a reminder, I tend to use 3 criteria to rank all of the movies on my list. First, filmmaking quality, which looks at how well a film is directed, acted, and technically crafted as a whole. Emotional impact, very important factor, which is how hard the film hits, whether it made me laugh, cry, or reflect on the meaning of life. And finally, rewatchability. How likely am I to put this film on again tomorrow, next week, maybe in 5 years? And with that down, let's talk about some movies. There were more than 25 movies that made the shortlist for me this year, so a lot of movies I had to bump off of the top 10. I have 3 honorable mentions that are well worth a watch, but just didn't quite make it in the end. They are Tar for Cate Blanchett's powerhouse performance and the difficult questions it asks about art, Barbarian for being an incredibly unique horror film with innovative storytelling, and The Northman for its beautiful tonal consistency and intense verisimilitude. At number 10 is a movie I believe I can put on any time this year and still have a great time. Nicolas Cage plays Nick Cage in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I loved this movie ever since I watched it on a warm, sleepless night. It's a fictional story about Nicolas Cage being invited to read a movie script written by Pedro Pascal's character. Now, I'm not the biggest Nicolas Cage fan in the world, but I reckon if you are, you would have loved this even more than I did. The movie is witty, silly, and campy in all the best ways, and Nick Cage is definitely back. Not that he ever went anywhere. Between Pig last year and The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent this year, I think he's making some really good choices, and this movie is what I would describe as pure entertainment value. It's not easy playing an exaggerated version of yourself, but Cage does a phenomenal job leaning into the over-the-topness that has become somewhat synonymous with Nicolas Cage movie characters over the years. There is a line of dialogue that is screamed out during this movie that is up there with the funniest and most epic quotes of the year for me, so watch out for that, as well as a light, fun time all around with this film. Number 9 isn't just the most beautiful movie I've seen this year, but probably the most visually stunning film I've ever seen. Avatar: The Way of Water makes it onto this list for its sheer spectacle alone. James Cameron does it again, pushing current technology to reach new heights and furthering the art of visual storytelling. Jake and Neytiri are back, this time with their family as they once again face off against the biggest threat to their planet, humanity. This is a movie that sometimes trades style for substance, but stylistically, it's second to none. That's not to say it doesn't have anything meaningful to say. Cameron is once again using film to showcase the power of community, either through society or through family. And like the first film, it's a clear allegory for man-made ecological destruction that hits even harder in IMAX 3D. I can't speak enough about how gorgeous the world of Pandora looks 13 years after the original Avatar movie, but I will say that if you haven't seen it, it's highly recommended. At number 8 is a fantastic animated movie, and one that I hope will get all the awards it deserves. I have gone with Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. I don't remember ever seeing a movie with such wholesomeness and joy being put to screen in such an elegant way. The movie is a mockumentary of Marcel, a small sentient shell living in a big world, who has recently decided to find his long-lost family. Not the kind of story you hear of every day, but this movie was wonderful. Its stop-motion animation is so cute, as is Jenny Slate's voice acting, but what really sold me was its exploration of innocence and childhood, including current ideas like the superficiality of social media in the modern age. This movie is a great hybrid of calming qualities combined with social commentary, and if you're looking for a high-quality, relaxing watch, then Marcel is the right shell for the job. From wholesome animation to the cruel realities of live action, at number 7 is one of the big surprises of the year, After Sun. Sophie, an 11-year-old girl, is on her summer holiday at a lazy Turkish resort with her father, Callum. An incredibly simple premise, but with volumes of depth hidden below the surface. After Sun is a movie that masters the art of show, not tell. Charlotte Wells pulls off what I think is one of the more empathetic and sensitive directorial efforts I've seen in a long time, allowing her characters the space and silence to live in this lost memory of a world. It's an incredible, melancholic exploration of two characters at very different stages of their lives, and how it's often the things left unsaid that define the relationships between people. I thought this was acted out impeccably by Paul Mescal and newcomer Frankie Corio, who both give these natural, nuanced performances. And if you're willing to explore slower paced movies where not everything is spelt out for you, then I would highly recommend this. It is quietly brilliant. At number 6 is the closest thing on this list to a one-man movie, even though it stars multiple people, and it is Cha Cha Real Smooth. There's something unexplainably resonant about this slice of life coming-of-age story, written, directed, and acted by what was then 24-year-old Cooper Raiff. Our protagonist Andrew is a young man who takes on a job as a party MC for bar mitzvahs, where he strikes up an unlikely friendship with a young mother and her autistic daughter. This movie earned its place on this list for just how introspective it is, touching on themes like the value of youth, love, and this dance we call life. I've done my best to describe why I enjoyed this movie so much, but in reality, there is an intangible authenticity to Cooper Raiff's work as an artist, which gave this movie its overall vibe. You can almost feel the director using his film as a thought vehicle for his own life as a 20-something-year-old living in modern America, but also a platform for other young people thinking about their future. And it's for these reasons that I would definitely push you to catch the film on Apple TV+. Number 5 is one of the most unabashedly hilarious films I've seen in a long time. You might be surprised that Weird, the Al Yankovic story, is so high on this list, but I can't remember the last time I laughed so much during a movie. Daniel Radcliffe plays the titular character in a film that is essentially a parody of every musical biopic ever. It is so self-aware of its silliness and satire that I was completely on board with it within the first 5 minutes. Honestly, I can appreciate the artistry of filmmakers and cinema of all genres from all corners of the globe, and it's because of that that I'm grateful that there are films that are as stupid as this, that know how silly they are and embrace their silliness to make it as stupidly funny as it can be. It's a great movie to sit down to, and whether you watch alone, with your family, or with your friends, I think you'll have a grand old time, and that is why it is here on this list. Next up is a movie that I think is going to slip under the radar for awards consideration, The Menu. When a group of VIPs are invited to a private island restaurant for a meal by a world-class chef, things take a turn for the weird. This is a brilliant movie that I think straddles the border between Hollywood blockbuster and a well-executed indie movie. It's impressive on multiple counts. 1. The acting is phenomenal. Ralph Fiennes, Anya Taylor-Joy, Nicholas Hoult, and Hong Chow all deliver great performances all round. Number 2. The cinematography is fantastic, mostly taking place in one dining room connected to a kitchen. Big kudos to the team for capturing a variety of angles and shots to keep the film flowing. 3. The concept of building a thriller around fine dining is just chef's kiss. There's more than enough here story-wise to keep you on the edge of your seat. And most notably, the messaging of the movie is just on point. What it says about class and privilege and the abuse of power for people in multiple walks of life. It's a very complete movie from where I was sitting, and I'd send anyone to go see it. There's something in the way the shadows have consumed my number 3 pick for 2022, and that is of course The Batman. Darker than The Dark Knight, but equally worthy to join the pantheon of great Batman movies. Matt Reeves' reimagining of a younger Batman played by Robert Pattinson blew me away. From its brilliant cinematography by Academy Award winner Greg Fraser to yet another iconic score by Academy Award winner Michael Giacchino. This is one of DC's big wins of a very tumultuous year. The casting was near perfect, with Paul Dano, Colin Farrell, Zoe Kravitz all standouts from a film that not only explored a new side of Batman rarely seen in live action, but also questioned the archetype of the vigilante, and did it in a very mature, grounded, and gritty setting. I actually don't think this tone of superhero movie will sit well for everyone, but as a huge fan of David Fincher's Seven, I ate this movie up. And if crime thrillers are your thing, then its 3-hour runtime will be a blessing. Now, this year's top 2 movies were relatively easy picks for me. Again, 2022 was a strong year, and you could make a case for a lot of these movies to be at the top. But at number 2 is a movie which showed everyone why we love the movies, and it's Top Gun: Maverick. Released more than 35 years after the original, and led by one of the last capital M movie stars in the world, Maverick is an absolute delight. It balances a healthy dose of nostalgia, familiar but well executed story beats, and some of the best aerial photography in movie history. Seeing this movie in IMAX is one of the most cathartic experiences I've had all year. It is an allegory for the battle of technology against human nature, of movie streaming against theatrical experiences, and at its center is Tom Cruise, 60 years young and still pulling off death-defying stunts. How grateful should we be that this man delayed the release of this movie during the pandemic so we could see it in cinemas? Well, $1.5 billion later, I think Paramount can answer that one for us. Will physical cinemas eventually be extinct? Maybe so, sir, but not today. And that leaves us with what I think is the best movie of 2022. A movie that preaches goodness but is destined for greatness. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Who in their right minds would choose to make a multiverse movie that was better than Doctor Strange? Who would have the audacity to write and direct a movie like Everything Everywhere All at Once? Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, take a bow, because a film like this comes once a generation. The great Tan Sri Michelle Yeoh gives it her all as Evelyn, a struggling laundromat owner who is thrust into a hero's journey to save the multiverse. Ke Huy Quan returns to acting in what is sure to be an Oscar-nominated performance, and Stephanie Su stands tall with Jamie Lee Curtis to support the insanity that is this movie. True to its name, the movie has a bit of everything: action, drama, comedy, romance, animation, you name it. It's a rare film that manages to not only deliver a literal multiverse worth of entertainment, but grounds it with a heartfelt story about familial bonds, acceptance, and the choices we make in life. This will go down as one of the most important movies of the 21st century in my book, because to me, it's one of the first films that captures what it feels like to live in the age of the internet, experiencing the overwhelming mania of everything, everywhere, all at once. And putting an older mother as a protagonist in this world on a quest to understand her family and herself was a stroke of writing genius. This one is for the parents and the children, for the postmodernists, the dreamers and the innovators, and for the movie lover inside all of us. And that is why I think it deserves to be the best movie of 2022. And there we have it, my top 10 movies of 2022. It's been a great year, and I look forward to seeing you again in 2023. But for now, it's over to you. What were your top 10, top 5, or top 3 movies of 2022? Share your favorites in the comments below. I'd love to see them. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Stay safe, stay hyped. Signing off for the year. I'll see you next time.